Deep within the lost records of humanity lies a story that almost no one knows. A whole civilization that vanished without a trace. We are not talking about a small tribe, but an ancient power whose legacy faded as if it had never existed. The modern world barely retains fragments of its greatness, scattered ruins, incomprehensible symbols, and tales that cross generations like distant echoes. Some archaeologists claim that their engineering surpassed everything we can imagine, that they built entire cities of polished stone capable of withstanding earthquakes, storms, and centuries without crumbling. But the most unsettling thing is that no one knows where they began or why they disappeared. When we approach the remnants of their temples, we feel a silence that weighs more than the rocks. The wind blows as if it guards a forbidden secret, while history tries to reconstruct the impossible. Recent studies have found perfect astronomical alignments in their ruins, as if they understood the cosmos in a way we have yet to achieve. Who were they? Who taught them so much? The mystery thickens like fog, and each clue seems to lead to a new abyss. Some ancient texts speak of a people who gazed at the stars seeking answers. They believed the sky was an open book that needed to be interpreted. Some assert that they disappeared by their own choice, while others say they were victims of a disaster that erased their name forever. No one has the answer, yet each discovery brings us a little closer to their shadow. Let us imagine a valley hidden beneath the earth, covered by jungles and rivers, where perhaps the intact remnants of their knowledge still sleep. If we ever find it, we might understand that this civilization did not vanish. Perhaps it merely hid, waiting for the moment to return to the light. Until then, we continue searching for loose pieces of an immense puzzle, listening to the story that time tried to erase. The disappearance of this civilization continues to raise questions that multiply with each new finding. Recent studies indicate that their cities were distributed along precise routes, as if obeying an invisible map written on the very earth. Their temples seem to align with mountains, rivers, and stars, as if each construction were part of a grand mechanism intended to record the passage of time. Some scientists believe they mastered agriculture with advanced techniques capable of withstanding extreme climate changes, while others think they controlled resources that we today cannot even identify, minerals or plants long gone, whose use may have propelled their technological development. However, all this knowledge evaporated without witnesses, suggesting that their end was not a simple collapse, but something deeper, something planned or imposed by forces we do not understand. There are oral accounts that still endure in remote villages, speaking of stone masters who could move giant blocks with just a touch, and of priests capable of reading the sky as one reads a pre-written message. Each of these stories adds a piece to the mystery, but none resolve it. Some propose that this civilization reached such a high point of understanding that it chose to abandon the material world. Others assert that they were absorbed by a cosmic phenomenon, a light that descended from the heavens and took them far beyond any human record. The truth is that there is no solid evidence to prove any theory. Yet, the silence they left weighs more than any proof. The eroded stones, the broken paths, and the carved symbols seem to speak, but the message slips away like water between our fingers. The more we try to understand, the deeper the abyss of the unknown becomes. Perhaps the answer lies not in the remains, but in the questions themselves, in the idea that our past is larger and older than we imagine. Each fragment found, each ruin studied, reminds us that history is not a straight line, but a circle that spins silently, waiting to be completed. The third part of this story delves into the most enigmatic remains discovered by explorers in a region where the jungle devoured entire temples and hid beneath its roots what could have been the greatest archive of ancestral knowledge that ever existed. A team of archaeologists managed to open a passage buried for centuries, and inside they found walls covered with unknown symbols, repeated patterns like equations that seemed to describe cycles of the moon, the sun, and the passage of time. The researchers noted that each figure was connected to another, as if they formed a network of information that could only be understood when observed in its entirety, without interruptions. Some believe this language was a blend of mathematics and astronomy, a script created to endure far beyond human memory. But despite the discovery, the chamber was incomplete. Parts of the wall had been removed with precision, suggesting that someone or something took important fragments before the total disappearance of the civilization. This idea opens a new possibility, that their end was not destruction but migration, an organized mass relocation perhaps to other territories or even to regions we have yet to discover. The silence they left is not that of an extinguished people but of a well-guarded secret. Every tool found, every piece of pottery, and every carved stone seemed to point to a planned exit, executed with time and absolute precision, as if they had foreseen that one day someone would seek their trace and needed to hide it carefully, to prevent their legacy from being used without full understanding. There are theories proposing that they mastered the natural energy of volcanoes and wind, that they built mechanisms to generate power without fuel, and that upon realizing how fragile their balance was, they decided to leave before others destroyed what had cost them so much to create. What remains now are soundless voices, stones that hold stories we still do not know how to read, and the constant feeling that the answer is near. The fourth part of this narrative leads us to an even more intriguing setting, a forgotten desert where the wind moves the sand as if it wants to reveal and hide at the same time the remnants of a city buried under centuries of silence. Some researchers employed underground mapping technology and discovered giant geometric figures, circles and lines that extend for kilometers, forming a vast diagram that no one has managed to interpret. It is thought that these shapes could represent a monumental scale calendar or perhaps a message directed to the sky. The precision is so perfect that it is hard to believe it was a work of chance. Each symbol seems to be connected to another, as if the city had been planned to function like a machine of knowledge, a living structure capable of recording the movement of time and the changes of the planet. There are those who argue that the vanished civilization used these designs to measure earthquakes, storms, and solar cycles with an accuracy that still surprises us today. And yet, the most puzzling thing is that no evidence indicates destruction, war, or catastrophe. They simply faded away, leaving behind their work like an open book waiting to be read. Let us imagine for a moment that this city was not abandoned, but extinguished, as if its creators had closed a system and departed for an unknown destination without taking the map that explains its function. Perhaps they trusted that a future civilization would be able to awaken this mechanism and continue what they had started. The sand covers and uncovers fragments of walls under the scorching sun, as if the desert breathes slowly, revealing clues and hiding them again in an eternal cycle. The more we discover, the more questions arise, and the secret becomes deeper, like a shadow that advances endlessly without end. The fifth part invites us to reflect on the most unsettling element of this entire story, the complete absence of human remains. There are no graves, no skeletons, no clear traces indicating that these people lived and died like any other civilization. This puzzles experts around the world because even small cultures leave biological evidence after millennia, but here there is nothing, as if millions of individuals decided to walk off the timeline and erase their own footprint from the Earth. Some researchers speculate that they may have developed an advanced form of spiritual or technological migration, a kind of collective transition to another physical or mental plane, while others propose that perhaps they left our world before their bodies could become relics to study. An unprecedented evolutionary leap that erased the boundary between matter and energy and took them far beyond current understanding. Still, there exists a more earthly and silent possibility, that their disappearance was the result of a conscious decision not to interfere with the course of future civilizations. Perhaps they understood that their knowledge was too great or too dangerous to remain here and chose to keep silent, to wait and observe, hidden somewhere we have yet to find. And although this theory may seem fanciful, There are those who claim that certain modern discoveries about magnetic energy, natural resonances, and frequency emitters could be distant echoes of their legacy, isolated awakenings of a technology we have almost forgotten. If this were the case, our world might be just beginning to remember an ancient wisdom. If one day we decipher their language or awaken their sleeping cities, we could understand that the civilization that vanished did not go extinct. It simply stepped forward into a horizon we have yet to reach. We remain here, seeking answers, touching ancient stones, and listening to the whisper of time, wondering if one day they will return or if the reunion depends on our learning to see first.